Hey, this is Rex from Kill Devil Hill. You listen to Focus on Metal. Focus on Metal!
Hey, Metalhead, Scott here.
And COVID Richie.
There you go. It's finally happened that it's almost like ultra old school Focus on Metal, where it's doing it over Skype, even though we live in the same damn city. But see how dedicated we are. We're actually still going to do one, even though, Richie's doing the whole giant COVID shit show paint job over himself and everybody around him. But it's good to have you on the phone tonight anyway, so we can at least do some discussion, because that's the basis of what this whole damn show is founded on.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this, because I'm just going stir crazy at home. This is the 5th day I've been stuck at home just to talk to somebody else is nice.
Oh, awesome! No, I was glad when you hit me up, and it was like, oh, great, I get to fire up the board again, and of course, and then, when I said to you today, I got to check everything out. Sure enough, there was another Skype update and everything. So even between the time that I did the Jim Santoro one to now, that it updated again. But it all works. Didn't break anything. So we are able to discuss. So lots of stuff that's come down lately. And I know you hit me up with a couple of topics last night, and who knows where the hell this will go. Let's hit the first one first, and that's all of the stuff from Metallica, which was a bit surprising.
A bit? Very. Came from nowhere.
I mean, the fact that they were able to keep that stone cold secret is unbelievable. Now, maybe it's because they were doing, a lot of it at home or whatever, but the fact that they were able to keep all of that quiet was mind-boggling.
I think they had one advantage when you compare them to someone like AC/DC. AC/DC don't have their home studio. Van Halen did, right? 5150, and Metallica have their own base in San Francisco.
Yep.
And they're always touring and stuff like that. So, they're in and out of there.
Yeah.
So you don't know whether they're recording anything new or not.
But I mean, it's amazing that Lars could keep his mouth shut. That's just, that alone. Well,
it says a lot about the crowd that they have around them, management, crew, everybody. That everybody was on board. Now, they were probably warned that there'd be severe consequences if anything was leaked. But in this day and age, to actually be able to pull that off and to release a new song and nobody knew,
right,
around the world, hats off to him for doing that. You could have done it in the 80s.
They did the video for it too. No. So it isn't even like they were just in HQ recording, but they did the whole damn video too. Yeah.
But you would have had all these non-disclosure agreements and all that. But the fact that no one had a few beers in a bar, that I worked for Metallica and let it slip. The fact that didn't even happen.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's crazy. And so did you listen to the new song?
I did.
Okay.
I like it. You see, I like it. A lot of people, how would I put this? Because I see it with a lot of bands. Metallica, there's Metallica fans out there that have waited 7 years just to say, this is a load of shit. It comes with every record they've done. The band died when Cliff died. All the usual comments that you see. And you've seen it since the Black Album.
Oh yeah,
right. And even before then, they've only 4 good albums, right? Okay, that's your opinion, right? But then there's people out there, and they wait all these years, and it's just going to be negative no matter what. It doesn't matter how good it is.
Yeah.
They're just waiting for Metallica to bring out something new. And the only thing they're interested in is saying how shit it is and getting in on the group think with that, saying, oh, I was there in the beginning, and, it's a load of rubbish, and Lars is a shit drummer and all that. Is it as good as their... Of course it's not.
No, but I will say it's a step in the right direction. You know what I mean?
It's damn right it is.
You know what I mean? Because there was a certain sound that they introduced with Death Magnetic. And I don't know how to describe it, but sonically there was something that happened with Death Magnetic that I know we've talked about this, and I remember even back with Jay that, initially I couldn't really connect well with Death Magnetic, but after about a year or so, popped it in again, revisited it, and then I found things that I liked. But then that similar sound was present again in Hardwired. But I connected more with Hardwired right away than I did with Death Magnetic. But then, and so when this one came out, I was almost expecting to have kind of more of that. It was almost like they were moving towards that. And I was actually very pleasantly surprised that, one, it drove the whole way through. It wasn't, like mid-tempo. It didn't slog. It had this good, aggressive, pace to it. And just the vocal sounded good. Just everything on it. It was almost like I could feel a little bit of Ride in there. But I could also hear the early influences that like Lars had from, Nawabum. And there's definitely a Motorhead vibe in there as well. And like I said, I really liked it. And I went into work the next day, and a couple of people that are, minor Metallica fans, and then a couple of people that were kind of bigger Metallica fans, I told them all, like, you got to go check it out. You've really got to go check out this song and let me know what you think of it. And believe it or not, every last one of them liked it.
Yeah. In general, a band like that doesn't have to make an album anymore. So the fact that they've actually bothered to do it is a big plus in my view.
Yep.
I put a post on the Facebook page a couple of weeks ago that I love every album a band has done since I started getting into metal in the mid 80s. But I'm grateful for the journey that they brought me on with them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Do I think the newer Metallica stuff is anywhere near as good as the first four? No. But I can still put on Load, on Reload, and Death Magnetic and Hardware. And depending on what mood I'm in, I can really like some of the stuff on those records.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the thing too is, you got to go back to it, and you got to think that, they're not wealthy, they're angry, they're with each other almost 24 hours a day, and they are just absolutely immersed in it. When you start talking about Kill 'Em All, and even with Ride, and so you are not going to get that same effect with people now who are wealthy, that have lots of other distractions in their lives, including the back then they didn't have families. Now they do. So there's a more sense of normalcy. They've also experienced a lot more music than they had when they started back in the early days as well. And they weren't single-minded about the music they were going to listen to, except, Cliff was always kind of all over the place and listening to other things and bringing things in. But really, Lars had a thing he liked, and James had a thing they were very singular in their music taste. And now they've had a lot of other things going on. And of course it's going to change. If I write a song today, it is nowhere near going to be what I would have written back in 1982. Totally different state,
Yeah, it's the band, different people. We're different people.
Mm-hmm.
And our tastes, I think, have hopefully matured. I listen to a lot more different types of music now, or let me phrase it a different way. I admit to listening to a lot more different types of music now than I did when I was 16 or 17.
Mm.
Like, there's certain bands that came out in the 80s and the 90s. At the time, I was like, oh, I can't stand that. And now I can listen back now with the time that I've had in between and say, actually, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
I actually quite like that. And then you can flip that the other way then, and there's music that I loved in the 80s, and now I put it on, I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck was I thinking? But I'm just really glad that they're bothering to do it anymore, because once I heard James came out and saying he was going back into rehab, I was thinking, that's it, they're done. They're not done making new music. I'd love to know where's the motivation to do it? Do you think it's still coming a lot from Lars? I think a lot of it has to do with James, though. Like, James has to be in a certain headspace to do it.
Right. Well, my understanding of this too is that, this whole concept behind the album, the title and all that, is a lot of what, James has worked through. So that's kind of that whole what's behind this 72 seasons. So I think that there is probably some cathartic need from James for doing this. Lars, I think, is going to always be up for doing it as well. And, I think that, Robert and Kirk just genuinely like to make music anyways.
Yeah. But I'm excited for the new record. I'm not going to lie. I really do like the single. It's 3.5 minutes long.
Yeah, and like I said, it just pummels you the whole way through. Not like a Machine Head pummels you, but it's good. It's much more aggressive than the things they put out lately, and it grabbed me right away. And I was just like waiting. Okay, when is this going to go into some other thing? And it didn't. It was, like I said, it really had that Nawabum kind of ethos to it, and I liked it.
So how many of the shows are you going to?
Well, so I like the single. The show thing is what kind of got me to be like, what the fuck? So I don't know if you got involved in buying the tickets or anything, because you probably didn't, because you're smarter than me.
That's why I'm asking you, and you're not asking me.
So, initially, I because I'm a legacy, I got the announcements early, and I was like, ooh. So I figured right away that I'm like, okay, well, they're gonna do Gillette. Okay, it's a Friday and a Sunday, and I was like kind of like psyched to even see the show announcement. So I didn't, and I think if I think back, the original thing I got as well, and I happened to be home that day because that was the day I had to get the root canal. So I was back from the root canal from about half an hour sitting here, and I got the email. So it was like, ooh. And so but it didn't mention the fact that it was an all or nothing ticket. It was either you did both days or you did no days. They're not doing single days. So I looked at it and said, oh, okay, well, at that point, not knowing that, I'm like, okay, well, Nikki's probably going to want to do the Friday, and Friday's going to have, Mammoth, Van Halen, and it's going to have Pantera. And although it's kind of that or a Five Finger Death Punch part, but I was like, okay, we'll do the Friday. And then I didn't think anything else of it. Like, yep, I'll wait for the Wednesday. I'll be good. I'll buy the Friday. And then I think it might have been Tuesday night, there was another email that came out that was a little bit more explanatory, which was basically, you're going to have to buy both days. We're not splitting them up. And it was like, you've got to be freaking kidding me. So then I figured, all right, then I'm going to look at prices and see what's up and kind of make a decision. And then I also, on the Wednesday, I get in, and I think I was in the queue. I think I was like number 250 in the queue, and I got there like right on the dot. And the first thing that comes up, it says, these are for both days, and you can't transfer any of them. Because I was thinking, oh, I know what I'll do. I'm like, my buddy Jeff wants to go, so I'm gonna basically, I'll buy the 2-day ticket, and then I'll transfer day 2 to him. And then I see this, oh, we can't transfer. Are you freaking kidding me?
Hang on a second. Before you go any further, Scott, does that mean that how many tickets can you buy? Just the maximum?
I was allowed to buy for that first day with my legacy code. I could buy up to 4.
Okay. So do you have to name the 4 people in the seats to buy the tickets?
No.
Okay. It's just that you personally have to go to the 2 shows because you're paying for them. That's what you're saying?
So usually at Ticketmaster, you could just go, okay, well, I've got these individual tickets. I'll just, transfer or sell the other ones off. And they were like, they're not doing single day tickets till like January, if there's things left. I think there is. So I was like, what the hell? So I was like, all right, I'm not going to bother. Like I'm just not going to like kill money on a whole show that I can't. Because there's no way I was going to go down and deal with Gillette 2 days in a weekend. As much as I like Metallica, you know how Gillette is. It sucks, and it's just
it's there's one road in and one road out.
Yeah. So I was like, and even going from Nikki's, it's a lot closer. It's not as much of a drive, but it sucks. So I was like, so then I was like, yeah. So I let Jeff know, hey, dude, they won't even let me transfer him, and he was like, oh, he goes, well, what if we just. I'll sign in as you on my Ticketmaster, and I can go Sunday. And it was like, all right, well, so we'll take a shot. Maybe that'll work. So obviously I've got like over a year to work around this snag because the show isn't until 2024 anyways. So right now that's our fallback position will be.
Hang on. When is the show?
2024, August of 2024.
And they're taking your money now.
Yep.
Oh, God.
You know what?
Wow.
I got to admit, they're smart because they want to get all of this locked in now. And so I totally understand right now the way the position is to go, okay, we're going to only sell this in 2 days. So then that you've sold all the seats for both the shows well in advance. So from a business perspective, I get it. What drives me crazy is okay, I bought the ticket. It's sold. Now let me transfer it to somebody else. And like to lock that out too is like, you've got to be freaking kidding me. So that's the painful part.
Couple of questions. How much would it take? How much was the seat?
What were they? All totaled. So 4 tickets was, I want to say, I think it was like around, was it 6? I'd have to look.
Is that for one night?
No, that's for the whole shot. That was all of it. Let me see. I can, I'll look back because I got my alert text.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I got a couple of more questions on this because you're the one who's doing the transactions.
Let's see. Why is it not? Yeah, it's not that. I know I got one.
So you're talking about 600 for 4 seats for Friday and 600 for 4 seats on Sunday.
No. It was for all of it. You bought both days were all at once. So I'm buying the same seat for both days. It's one price.
So you got 8 seats for 600 for Metallica.
I got 2 seats for 2 days.
Oh, so that's 2. Oh, yeah. Okay. So it's 300 and 300.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Plus whatever fees, rip-off fees that they add on top of that.
So realistically, if you break that down, it's not that far from average of like 150 a seat.
Okay.
And these are lower bowl. Remember, it's in the round. So the seats that were like, on the 50-yard line to either side, so those ones that were direct in line with the stage, they were more. So I'm basically like one row cheaper, or you know what I mean, one side over cheaper. And it was like, that's way better. And I got the end, so I got leg room in the aisle. So yeah.
Okay. Right. Next question I have. Did it explain anywhere in any of the emails why they were ticketing it like that, where you had to buy for both shows?
Oh no, and I didn't expect them to.
Have you ever heard of another band do that?
Oh hell no.
I haven't.
No, I haven't.
Have you read anywhere why they've done it that way?
No. But knowing how things get booked, I'm assuming that it's because they want to be able to have all of the production cost, everything. They know it's 100% covered. Everything is locked in, and they've already got they've got the money in the bank.
If they played 2 nights and you didn't have to buy both nights, they're going to sell out. Like this is you know what I mean. This is not we have to get the money in for the production costs. Blah blah blah. They're going to sell out these shows regardless.
Yeah, but I think they wanted to get the cash in fast. They didn't want to have it slowly come in because they're doing all big dates. You know what I mean? Because I still think there's Gillette
They're doing
seats available.
Okay. That's
Plus, I honestly think too that the expectation is, and I know there's going to be plenty of people out there that are like, yeah, I'm going to go both nights because I'm not getting a repeat. I'm getting totally different opening bands every night, and I'm getting a totally different set list. So, like, this is awesome. I'm going to get to hear twice as many Metallica songs as I would on any other tour I've been on. So for a lot of people, this is going to be awesome. So I might be in the minority, to be honest, about being like, I'm not going to go there frickin' 2 nights in a weekend.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And they are one of the few stadium bands that can actually do that, because there's so many stadium acts out there now, and they don't vary the set list at all.
Right.
That for them to actually go and do 2 shows like this, they wouldn't be able to do it. Because of the production and
and these guys, I mean, they're doing it. And the other thing too, right, is that, I mean, their schedule for this is even more sparse than some of the bands that people make fun of being like weekend warriors. Of like, someone like a Great White that goes out and plays a weekend and goes home. I mean, these guys are doing like play 2 nights in a month and go home. You know what I mean? So yeah, of course they can do a blowout and do, and they even have a rest day in between. So yeah, it works out pretty well for them.
Yeah. So what have you got? You got Pantera and Wolfgang one night and Five Finger the other night. Is that the way it works?
And I think it's Ice Nine Kills is on the second night as well. And then I think in Europe, some of the dates, one of those bands is replaced with Volbeat, which is also a good bill there. Volbeat's always good live.
Man, you think at this stage in their career, wouldn't you love to see Saxon or someone like that on some of the shows? Bring out one of the older bands like that and give them a fucking stadium run.
It would be interesting, but you know what? I think so. Based upon just kind of what I see at the shows, and then also what I've seen at other shows is so. For instance, with the Death Magnetic tour, right before they went on, they were playing Heavy Metal Thunder, and me and Hunter were like, "No, it was 20,000 feet." And we were just like, oh, fuck, yeah, Saxon, whoa, and people around us were just looking at us like, who is this band? Like, they didn't even recognize the song. So you kind of have this, you had a large crowd of people around us that were post Black Album arrivals. And then I look at seeing Saxon at the Palladium on the same bill with Priest. And the same thing. Most people there were like, didn't really care about Saxon playing at all. And then they got fired up at Priest. So I could see that at least here in the States, I'm not sure how well Saxon would go on in the bill. Obviously, Metallica would be loving the fact of having Saxon on tour with them probably from a fan perspective, but I think even them from a business perspective are going to be like, yeah, you know what? There's a huge chunk of our demographic that doesn't know who this band is, doesn't know how they fit into our history, and the other folks that maybe do are just getting to the point where they just can't really cope with the shows anymore.
Or even, I'll throw it out there because Mustaine has come out and said it recently again about Big Four shows, and hopefully if they want Metallica to do one so Slayer can come out of retirement. I wonder, did they throw a bone to Anthrax or Megadeth and ask them did they want to come out? Well, they can't because Pantera are of course doing shows and Charlie is.
Right.
But Charlie could have done double duty. But like Megadeth, they could have said, right, Dave, you come out and play some shows with us, you can open up.
That would have been amazing.
That would have been killer.
Yeah, that definitely would have been.
Because when is the last Big Four show was in New York? What was that, 10 years ago?
You might be right.
It's been a while.
Time's flown.
Yeah, it's been a while. And Megadeth have a new record out.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
well, it's going to be a year old by the time Metallica tour, but the exposure for Megadeth doing stadiums will be a lot. That's better than doing, a week or 2 weeks doing, hockey arenas or even smaller than that. You're going to get more exposure in a night or two than you would do in all those smaller places.
Yep.
I wonder, was that thrown around at all?
I don't know.
I find the addition of Wolfgang a bit odd. Now, I think the album he's done is excellent.
Mm-hmm.
I really, really do. And he's out there touring with Alter Bridge, and he's been touring now for a while. I just find his inclusion on the bill a little bit odd. Because there's going to be people that are going to go to that, and if his surname wasn't Van Halen, they wouldn't have a clue who he is.
Sure, but the thing is,
and
even the last tour, we went to the Hardwired tour. It was, even when Volbeat went on, there still weren't like a full stadium yet. So I'm guessing that there's still going to be a lot of people that are tailgating when Wolfie's on. And probably even, there'll be a larger chunk, I think, of people that will get in there for Pantera, because this is kind of more of like a, will we ever see this again type of a thing. So they may get a, bigger response there. But I bet there's a lot of people that are going to still just kind of be filter in when Wolfie's gone. And you got to figure it's Friday too. So there's going to be people that even just from work and stuff are going to be probably rolling in late.
Let's talk about the Pantera thing.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been talking about it for years, and of course, very polarizing.
Yep. And actually, when you go back, right, and we did the Legacy episode, time flies, it was probably a couple months ago, and you actually even asked me like about Pantera and if they were to reform with the fans go, and I will admit it, I was like, no, it's like, I wouldn't. And then they did what they did, and it was like, crap. So yeah,
it's going to go.
So I'm more of a, like, of the one person they could pick to try to fill Dime's shoes is essentially like Dime's best friend. And it's like, okay, so now they really have somebody that's at least approaching it from this incredible, heartfelt, respectful type of a thing, and that's tough to kind of shit on,
And I think it's the same with Charlie, because we all, Dime was great friends with the Anthrax guys. He played on some of the records that John Bush was on. There was a great fraternity, I think, amongst all these metal bands with Pantera. And that's never been forgotten. A lot of them have said it over the years that you go out partying with the Pantera guys, they were so down to earth, welcoming, great times, great musicians.
Yeah.
The old school fans, of course, again, it's not fucking Pantera, and I know it's not.
Right.
But they have the thing behind them that says Pantera, but a lot of that is driven by promoters and by management. I think the four guys on the stage know damn well that it isn't Pantera. It's the best tribute that they can put on.
Right.
And I've seen the videos.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you'd watched
any of the videos. They sound really fucking good.
Yeah.
Oh, I did. They sound really good. Of course, everybody's breaking down Zach. He's the one under the most scrutiny, saying, he's not getting Dime's tone and all that. But of course he's not. They're two different types of guitar players.
They are. The other thing that's interesting too, right? So one thing is definitely that. It's that, you've got Zach, who is, Les Paul into a Marshall. He knows how to drive tubes. He doesn't use really a lot of effects. Dime, believe it or not, most of Dime's career, he's in, those classic days, it's solid state Randalls. It's a different thing. It's a different approach. But the other thing is, and it's kind of funny, but you've got two East Coast guys who are in here, and they're basically filling in for two hardcore Texas boys. And even if you're like playing note for note, and I'll go by something that's kind of, you'll go, I get it, is you think about Scott Gorham coming into Thin Lizzy and having to play parts from folks that were native from Ireland, and you come out, you're immersed in that music and that culture, and your brain works a certain way with the music, and it's absorbed all of that stuff. So you go in, you try to fill that. You might be able to play the notes, but you don't have all of these nuances that you know when you come out of that you don't even think of. And so there's a difference, and it's the same thing when you hear it, and there's kind of that bluesy swing that is apparent in what Vinny did and what Dime does. And even if and I know that Charlie has studied like every possible little thing that Vinny was doing, but even when you do that, you can't get the nuances from that person and all the things they absorbed in their life and are coming through on them. So you hear it with you watch some of the videos and you watch Zach. Again, I agree, he's under incredible scrutiny where he's playing the riffs and everything, but there's just this little kind of groove thing that was always there, and it was even a thing that was played back and forth between Dime and Vinny as well because of them playing together with each other forever. You can't duplicate that, but you take all of that out, they're doing awesome. And then the other thing was like I saw, I don't know if you watched the video of I think it might have been the first show in Mexico, and they're playing Cowboys from Hell, or they're trying to play it, and you can see that Phil's talking and he's talking and he's talking, and Zach keeps getting ready to play, and you can tell he is like ready to go, and he looks and Phil just keeps talking, and it's like he's got to be like, okay, and then he gets ready to play again, and then Phil just starts talking again, and so here's this guy who's just the one where Zach is just going ding 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 ding. Yeah, and he's just like he's raring to go, and because he gets in that battle station position, and he just keeps getting like whacked in the balls, and it's like, and finally when they kick into it, he's like, all right, I've gotten so many lefts, I need a right here, and so he's already lost that kind of that fire that he kept trying to get going, and now he's got to suddenly snap into it again because Phil decided finally to stop like thanking every fucking person on the planet, and it's like, what the fuck? And so I could see where, here's a guy, he's really trying. You can see the intensity on his face, and it's just like, so there's like things like that, I think, as well, that just are, and then people go, oh, he sucked or whatever. And it's like, no, he didn't. No, he's there. For one thing, if you think it's going to sound exactly like the album, you're out of your fucking mind. It's just not going to happen. And again, Zach isn't Dime and Charlie isn't Vinny, but you know what? They're going out and they're trying to do like the best goddamn thing they can do.
But there's a difference with this one. When other bands go out and they do shows, the guys they're replacing might be still alive. With this one, the guys that like Zach and Charlie are up there, like Dime and Vinny are dead. Mm-hmm. It's not a case that they're still around and they're still shitting on it, and there's a big difference there.
Yeah.
It's like when Alice in Chains got back together with William Duval, it's like you can't bring back Mike Starr. Mike Starr is dead. Lane is dead. These guys still want to go out and play those songs.
Yeah.
And you look at the guys that are on the stage with Rex and with Phil, and it's Zach and it's Charlie. These are fucking great friends of the band.
Yeah.
It must have been really fucking difficult for them to say yes. In some ways, because they knew that the arrows would be pointed at them.
Oh yeah. I mean, in a way, Zach's already gone through it before, right? I mean, Zach's got a little bit of a baptism of like, not that he quite took over from Randy, but he's had to kind of live that legacy. So he's got a little bit of it. Just he's been a little bit removed with, you know, folks like, you know, Brad and Jake and stuff kind of coming in between. But yeah, and just the emotional part, right? Because I mean, in Aussie, it's not like Randy was Zach's friend, but here you go. You got to be up there, and you got to imagine. Holy crap! The thoughts that must go through that guy's head every night while he's trying to play his friend's songs. It's got to be intense.
I think it's the different thing there, and you bring up the Aussie thing, is that Zach didn't follow Randy. Zach followed Jake.
Mm-hmm.
But with the Pantera thing, that band was done, and then you know Vinny and Dime did Damage Plan.
Mm-hmm.
And they did nothing since. Like there was no, you know, Zach is not replacing someone who replaced Dime. Zach is now doing this. And an interesting thing that I was reading today, because I knew I was going to talk to you, I was trying to look up some quotes from interviews about Zach doing the Pantera thing that were more recent, because for years Zach has been asked about this. And he's always, you know, been honest about it, and you know, over the years. But I didn't want to talk about Zach. It was Rex Brown's quote that actually interested me. And this was like the last year or two. He's asked about a Pantera reunion, and Rex said, "It's going to come up, and it won't be Zach Wilde. I guarantee you that." The following year or two, Rex Brown's on stage. Who's playing guitar? Zach Wilde. But let's talk about their set list, because I've had a look at a couple of them. I don't see really anything from the Great Southern Tranquil, which you know disappointed me a little bit. They're playing 5 songs from Far Beyond Driven, which is fabulous. And then it's like Cowboys, and of course, what the fuck? And what's the other one? Jesus Christ, brain fart. Vulgar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think they're playing one from the last record that they did, Reinventing the Steel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which an album that I actually love, but I'm just really glad they're doing it. There's a lot of, you know, this will come up and it's a cliche. Oh, but there's a lot of younger fans out there. They never got to see these songs, and now they're getting a chance to, you know, to hear them. And some people might say, yeah, but Phil was doing it with the Illegals. He was doing a set of Pantera songs.
Mm-hmm.
But that the difference now is that you put the Pantera name behind Phil. It's not going to be in clubs. They're going to be out doing festivals. They're going to be really high up on the bill. The zeros help. I'm not going to lie. You know, it's a business. It is a business, and you got the 2 guys in the band still alive who were there when these songs came out. You got the singer, which for a lot of people is the most important thing, or one of them.
Yeah.
And you got the bass player, and you have a fucking shit hot drummer in Charlie, and you got a shit hot guitar player in Zach. And if you don't like it and you're fucking jumping up and down about it, don't go. But I guarantee you, there's a fucking lot of people out there, and I'm going to be one of them. I'd fucking love to see this.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not going to lie, because that band had a big part in me getting through the 90s and the early zeros when it came to metal, because you know, everyone else was doing fucking new metal and all this shit, and a band came along like this, you know, the fucking heavy grooves, guitar solos, shit hot instrumentation, angry.
Yeah.
You know, they fucking stood out from a lot of the rest of them, and I'm just glad that, you know, they're still out there and they want to do it. I know damn well it's not Pantera, and they know it's not Pantera, but just go out and enjoy the fucking music with 2 of the guys that played on it, you know?
Yeah.
Because I think once this is done, they're done.
Of closure probably too for,
yeah,
especially probably for
definitely.
Phil, you know, getting out there and doing it. I will say though that, you know, the other day when I heard that, you know, Rex got sidelined, and then it was like, okay, now wait a minute, now it's the Phil Anselmo show. For some reason, that having one less original Pantera guy was like, is this really good right now or not?
Yeah. If Zach goes down, they can get John 5 in. Get him in before the Motley tour.
That's a whole other thing, dude. I had somebody who was like, they were so happy about like, oh, John 5's going to, and trying to explain to them, John 5 is not going to go out and do John 5 stuff. John 5 is going to go out and he's going to do Mick Mars stuff. It's not going to, and he's going to be, such a great player. He's going to be faithful to how Mick Mars does it. You aren't going to get the John 5 experience, so it's like, yes, he's a great guitar player, but if you expect to have the John 5 show, it's not. It is still going to be the Nicky, Vince, and Tommy show, and you're going to fill in for our guitar player. Only now we actually have a guitar player that can move again.
Yeah, he's a bit of a tangent here just for a minute, but he's I've already seen that he's selling these meet and greet for the Motley shows when they come around. I'm not begrudging him any of this. Yeah. He's a really, really good guitar player.
Well, he is. I mean, I was going to go with another one of my guitar buddies because he was supposed to play the Tupelo. It was supposed to be him and Yngwie, and then COVID, and then he dropped out, and it was like, well, I'm not going to just go up to see Yngwie because that's just, I need to have some balance. I just can't have a full night of Yngwie. And yeah, it was a disappointment because I was really looking forward to going over and just, getting to see John 5. But yeah, he backed out of it because of the COVID. So it's like, but I mean, it's good to see him out there. It's good to see him get some recognition. But I mean, again, he's not going to be John 5 out there. He's playing Mick Mars's parts.
Yeah, he's a hard gun.
Yeah, and if the mix is as bad as it was in Boston, then no one's going to be able to hear anything he's doing anyways, which is like a whole other thing.
Yeah. So let's wrap it up here. We'll talk about Judas Priest in the Hall of Fame. Everyone out there who listens to the show, I think at this stage knows that the Hall of Fame doesn't really mean anything to me, that I don't need a Hall of Fame in Cleveland to justify whether I think a band is good or not. But what's interesting about this one is that KK actually played with Judas Priest on the stage, because over the years you've heard of bands being inducted and it's been a complete shit show when it comes to who turns up. That the Hall of Fame, of course, wants all these musicians on stage again, especially if they haven't played together for years.
Oh yeah,
but
like
you can get something like
clickbait,
what happens with but you can get something that what happened with Guns N' Roses and Van Halen, where half the fucking guys don't even bother their arse showing up, and you get kind of a jam thing with maybe one of them, and it's the last thing the hall wants. So for I'll give kudos to Priest for doing this, and KK playing and Les Binks playing. Right.
Hi everyone, this is KK Downing, formerly of Judas Priest, and you're listening to Focus on Metal, so crank it up as loud as you can.
And have you seen the video?
I have not. No, I have not.
Okay, I have, right. So what you had was Priest show up on stage, played a couple of songs. You know the songs they played. Mm-hmm. It's pretty fucking obvious the ones that were good. So they played a medley. And it had all the guys on stage and Les and KK, right? And they sounded good. And you had all this hullabaloo coming up, leading up to it. Was KK going to play? Was he going to play? He shouldn't play. Certain fans were like, he shouldn't be up there. And then other fans were, he should be up there. He was part of the twin guitar team, helped write a lot of their biggest songs. And I think the band did the right thing, and they kind of said, yeah, he should be there. And, we want him to play. So they did it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Jane Andrews, the manager, recently goes on a Gloria Butler, who's Geezer Butler's wife's podcast, and said that in a lot of ways, it looked like KK was nervous and a little bit out of his depth, right? And
oh man,
I remember reading that, and I'm like, yeah, that he hadn't been touring for, about 10 years, and it, basically she was saying it showed. And I watched the video, and I didn't get a sense of that at all. And you read something like that, and she even said it in the interview, I shouldn't really be saying it. And I'm like, yeah, you shouldn't really be saying it.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have really said you were going to go out as a 4-piece either. But you did. And that caused the backlash. But the thing with KK and Jane Andrews, right? But I've interviewed KK. You've read the book, right? They don't get it. They don't like each other, right? But what this said to me was Jane Andrews posturing and positioning the band now with Richie Faulkner, saying, I know I'm going to get the KK's coming back thing, because he actually appeared on the stage. And that was her way of saying that he's not coming back. I'm just going to say that he was nervous and he seemed out of his depth. I'm going to make it look as if he's not fit enough to come back and play with us. And I'm just going to try and drive a nail in this now and just get ahead of it. What are your thoughts on it? Like, do you think there's a bit of that in it?
Yeah, I'm sure there is. There's, you realize that now that we've said anything bad about Jane, we've sealed our deal of ever getting anyone from Priest on the show again.
Well, you can always edit this out, but
no, we're not going to edit anything out. We know the track record with her. But yeah, it's absolutely, it's posturing. I mean, this is, and the thing is that okay, you're repping the group. You think you're protecting the group. You think you're protecting Glenn, but at the same time, you're essentially shitting on every single one of us that really likes KK and likes what he did in Priest. Like, it's like, what are you doing? And you have something that went off rather well with the Hall of Fame without drama, and now on the back end, she feels the need to add the drama. Yeah,
exactly. She should have just left it.
Yeah.
And said it was great. It was great. She should have told the political line here and said, it was great seeing him. He did a really good job on the stage. We have a new record coming out. It's mostly done. And, we want to thank KK for actually coming up on stage and playing with us, that a lot of other musicians haven't done that with their older bands in the past, and just let it go at that. But actually, criticizing his stage performance like that, I'm like, this guy has played arenas for 30-something years. It's muscle memory when he gets on stage. And saying that he looked a little bit out of his depth, like that's to be honest with you, that's insulting.
It is, and honestly, and I'm just like making shit up on the fly, but when Richie had his heart event and he couldn't do the shows, I could totally have seen that if they had said, "Hey, KK, would you mind filling in for Richie, aka filling in for yourself, so we can do these shows and let everybody know that you're just helping us out." He would have been like gracious and been, no matter what else would have been, it was great to play with the band again, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. I mean, we've talked to him. He absolutely would have been like that. He would have been probably more than happy to do it. Psyched that he got asked and been gracious about the whole thing and never said anything bad afterwards either. But yeah, I mean, it's sad. I mean, why create like extra shit afterwards?
But you never hear anyone in the band say something like that.
Well, because they're not allowed.
They always toe the line and say it was great seeing him. And I think in a lot of ways it probably was great.
Oh, sure.
You know, for the guys to see KK and just to say hello just for one night, the fact that they were able to pull it off.
And Les Binks was up to the task?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent here and say the fucking Ripper should have been there.
Yeah.
You know, he should have. I don't know whether he was even invited to go.
Just no Dave Holland.
Well, he's dead. But, you know, Ripper was on 2 records.
Yeah.
You know, they don't have an issue fucking burying him. You know, they hardly even mention his albums with the band. But they bring up, you know, you talk about Les Binks. Les Binks was in the band. I know the albums he was on are iconic. I'm not going to knock them. But Ripper was in the band for, 10 years? Les Binks was in the band for, a year and a half, 2 years? You know, in a lot of ways, if Ripper hadn't to come into Priest, that band wouldn't have been in the Hall of Fame. Because he was able to bridge the gap between Painkiller and Rob coming back.
Yeah.
And then they went, you know, when Rob came back, they did Angel of Retribution, and they've done some really good stuff since. But, you know, they could have been, I'm not saying forgotten, but their stature mightn't have been as high as it is now if Ripper hadn't have been in the band for 10 years.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, for one thing, he carried on, you know, they got to Painkiller, and he was able to carry on that kind of aggressive zenith that they had, you know, through a couple more albums, and kept them out there and in the public eye, and did a great job.
Yeah. Yeah. But, you know, no mention of him again. I don't know why they keep doing that to him, but that's Judas Priest management for you.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I suppose.
Yeah.
But, and the other thing, I just want to finish with this. I'm not shitting on Richie at all. He's a fucking great player. I've seen him with Priest a few times. Brilliant. Brilliant player.
Oh, yeah.
Great writer with the band. He's put a fire under that band's ass since he joined. You know, and I'm looking forward to the new record. It's just that some of the decisions that the people in that band make that aren't, you know, like the likes of management, I scratch my head at it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Richie's phenomenal.
He is phenomenal.
He's just an incredible player. He's brought a lot again to the band. It's great. Yeah. And, you know, even just seeing them live with him, yeah, it's great. I mean, he's got an awesome stage presence, and, you know, puts it all together. So he's definitely a worthy player to be in the band. So, yeah. Yeah,
yeah. Have you read Rob's new book?
I have not. I have it sitting on my shelf over there. I got a nice little signed copy, and I'm looking forward to reading it, maybe over the holidays. I'm just getting through. There's another book I bought a few months back. It's these interviews with Eddie Van Halen. I don't know if you read this or not. It's a great way they did this book, where it's basically gives a little segment of the VH history, and then there's an interview with Eddie from that time period, and then they just keep going through his career all the way through, and they have interviews from that time period in there, and at the same time they talk to different people. So like I left off on Saturday. They were doing like a little interlude where they were doing an interview with Michael Anthony, and they've done an interview. They did one interview with Gary Sharon, and so there's other players in there and people that have worked with them. So there's interviews with that, and then they have other little one-page segments of kind of lesser-known Eddie guitars as well. But the whole thing it's a really interesting concept to kind of give a chunk of history and then have an interview that's from that time. Yeah, it's a great read.
Yeah, the book I have in my lap now is Killing the Dragon, Dio in the 90s and the 2000s.
Oh, that's great.
The new one from Martin Popoff.
Yeah. And then I also just got in the Denim and Leather one as well, the new album history. So I'll be reading that one pretty soon, hopefully.
Well, is that the Michael Hahn one? The Denim and Leather one?
I don't know who.
Yeah, because I'm looking at it here.
I thought it was Ian. It might be Michael Hahn. I thought it was Ian Christie for some reason. Maybe because it's that same print house he's on.
Yeah, I'm looking at Denim and Leather, Michael Hahn. It's an excellent read. Really, really good. There's been books out this year I haven't even gotten around to yet, and I wanted to read Matt Sorum's one. I haven't even gotten that yet.
Yeah, and then the other one that just came in last week was John Corabi's.
I haven't even read that one yet either. And you know how big a fan of the 94 record I am, the Motley Crue one.
Yeah.
I'd be honest with you, I'm more interested in the Corabi book to see what he says about his time in Rat than I am about Motley.
Well, yeah, I'll certainly let you borrow it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I saw him with Rat in Belfast.
Wow.
And I remember looking at him and I'm like, that's John Corabi playing rhythm guitar and background vocals. I'm like, fucking hell.
We live in this weird bubble because I mentioned John Corabi to people and they just kind of look at me like the RCA dog, like, what? Who
are you?
It's like, yeah.
So anything else, Scott? What do you?
No, I think. This is like old school focus on metal, man.
Do you know what I'm listening to recently? I picked up the Skid Row vinyl box set, the Atlantic Years.
Oh yeah. You got the vinyl one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be careful when you lift it up because all the albums fall out of it really easy.
Yeah. I've always loved the Subhuman Race record. Very, very polarizing album, that one.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying the band. I was never a massive fan of them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a well put together box set. I will admit that. Oh, and I ordered today. You have all of these, so it's going to be like, I have that. I ordered for Christmas. They asked the kids and all that asked me what I wanted, so I'm getting the deluxe box set vinyl edition of the Black Album.
Oh yeah, that's a great one. Yeah, there's all of those are done really, really well. But the amount of stuff that's packed in there is insane. I
think I looked at your one and it had 15 CDs or DVDs and albums and all that, and I'm like, wow, that's well done because you look at something like that, right? And another one I was looking at was the Overkill, the Atlantic Years box set on vinyl. And that has the 6 or 7 albums they did for Atlantic. So I think it goes from, is it Field of Fire up to Wide Fucking Open, WFO, in 94 or 5.
Yeah.
So you get it. And one of the ones that I have, I've got it is, I picked up Sound of White Noise. And when I opened it up, it was just white plastic inner sleeves, double album, and no pictures of the band. And I'm like, where's the fucking inlays? Shit.
Yeah, it's amazing because
you see that a lot more now.
2 new colored vinyl editions from Triumph, Never Surrender and Rock and Roll Machine. And Never Surrender has the insert exactly like the original because I've got the original, and then Rock and Roll Machine has got the plain white. But that's what was in the original as well. So that one was done really well, you know?
Yeah, because I pick up a couple. Like one of them I picked up was Winger's Pull. And I'm a massive Winger fan. So I have the CD, and the CD's got all the lyrics and band pictures and everything in it. When I opened up the vinyl, it had the front and the back the same as the CD, and then the white sleeve. Nothing else. Zero. And I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me. And so you got to be careful, I think, with some of these box sets and vinyl reissues that are coming out because Metallica control all their own stuff.
Yeah.
So that's going to be shit hot. Something like Kiss.
Yeah, like I just got in the Alive 2 45th today, and obviously I have the original from the freaking week it came out, but this thing has. The sleeves are just like the original, and it even has the little book that's in it just like the original. And the only thing it doesn't have is the little merch thing, which I can understand them not putting the little merch thing in because people would probably get confused and try to order the shit. But otherwise, it's like the original. It's just that it's on like a blue and red spattered vinyl instead. But yeah, they did a great job on that one. The same with the Rock and Roll Over one. Even had the sticker that came with the original one. The Love Gun reissue. The sleeve is just like it is with, the Kiss in blood, and it even came with the little Love Gun you can put together as well. Yeah, they've been doing great with these ones.
The Creatures of the Night one.
Yeah, but got one.
It's got
Same
every
thing
bell
too.
and whistle on it. Yeah. But when I remember looking at the Creatures one, because that's my favorite Kiss record, right? And it is fucking expensive, right? I'm not going to lie. But their fans out there will go, go ape shit over stuff like this, and good luck to you. I'm more of a pick and choose kind of a guy, because I have it already. I have it in vinyl, and then I bought the CD, and then I bought the remastered CD, and now they're giving you all this bonus stuff. But when I see a band like Kiss do that, do you have the Kiss box set that came out, the one that came out in, it's probably 15 years ago now. You remember the one that came out with the guitar case? It was one version.
I was talking to Nikki about CDs. That the other day, and she was like, really? And I was trying to describe it, and I was only describing it because I was actually saw this, and I had never seen this before, but there's a Led Zeppelin road case, 280 gram, single-sided vinyl, and it's in a road case. and they only made, I want to say 600 of them because they were tough to make. I guess it's the best sounding Zeppelin you can get. And she was like, well, that's crazy, and then I was like, well, Kiss made one and it was in a guitar case and blah, blah, blah. She was like, what? And yeah, I think he might be the only other person who remembers they did that. Yeah.
Cause the Kiss one, I'm a massive era. I'm a bigger fan of the non-makeup era than I am the makeup era. It's because of when I got into it.
Sure.
Right. I got into the 80s, right? So that's me. So I'm the Bruce Kulick, Vinnie Vincent, Animalize, all that stuff. I'm all over that. And when I bought the original box set, I always felt that the 80s, the extras from the 80s were more or less shit. That they had, the only real unreleased track they had on it from the 80s was this song called Time Traveler. I think they did for maybe around the time of Crazy Nights. And there was always rumors that they'd done all these other demos, and they'd started recording the Crazy Nights record and then shelved some of it and then went in with Ron Nevison. So they had all these other songs that were never released. And then you find out that Creatures comes out with all these tracks on it. And I'm thinking, why didn't you fucking put any of them on the 80s one when you did the box set originally? You kind of feel, I don't know, I just kind of feel a little bit cheated when bands do that.
Yeah.
Put a bit more effort into it. But like the Dokken one now is coming out, the vinyl one.
Yep.
So it's got the first 4 records, right? But as far as I know, it's just the first 4 records, and there's no bonus stuff.
Nope. No, as far as I know, there's nothing, no bonus stuff on it. It's just just the remaster.
Yeah. So that's a remastered vinyl.
Mm-hmm.
You going to get that?
Oh yeah, I already ordered it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I already have them.
It's pre-ordered. I don't think I'm going to see it till like probably February. But yeah.
Okay. And how much did that cost?
Oh, I don't remember. I ordered it back in October.
Okay. So it's literally the first 4 records, same track listing.
Yep.
No bonuses, no posters, no nothing. And the only thing is it's in one box and they're remastered, and that's it.
Yep.
Okay. Wow. You still already have all that vinyl, don't you?
I don't have Back for the Attack on vinyl because I bought that on CD. But the others, others I got them. I have from. Well, the Breaking the Chains is one of those original imports from Germany. So I don't even have a U.S. release of that. I have the German release of that from before they were even released here. And then then like Under Lock and Tooth. Those are like the week they came out ones on vinyl. Yeah.
They're not even doing Beats from the East in it.
I don't think so.
Yeah. I've got that, the double vinyl. I think that came out in '88. I've still got all that. see, when I say I pick and choose, that's one I'm not picking.
Yeah.
And the Metallica one, I'm like, I'm all over that because that gives you fucking everything.
Yeah, like I said, those are really well done. What's bizarre too is that because I can actually see them from here as I'm sitting here, but there's actually more in the Injustice one than even the Black Album one. The first is pretty much about the same as far as content, but Justice actually has more content than all of them. It's crazy.
Yeah. We could talk all night. I think we already have.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So, anything else to finish off? What are you listening to these days? Anything new?
No, nothing really new. No, I've just been, getting some of these reissue ones and just playing the vinyl. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah. What am I listening to? Old Yngwie, New King's X. Still love the Def Leppard album. The Alter Bridge album's really good, I think.
Oh yeah, actually, I've got that on vinyl. I haven't cracked the seal on it yet, but I did get that like 2 weeks ago on vinyl.
Yeah. Oh, when you're stuck at home, you can't go anywhere.
Yeah, there you go.
Music saves you.
Uh-huh.
All right, Scott. I'll let you go.
All right. Well, hey, this has been
about an hour and a half here, did we?
Yeah, it's damn near there. But yeah, and this has been good. This is a nice little break. Get some old school discussion going, and I mean, you guys listening, you should probably expect some more of this as well, because it's just kind of the way we're slotting things in right now.
Yep, more discussion on the way.
Yep,
Iron Maiden.
You got it.
Next three albums. All right, listen, Scott, I'll leave you go.
All right, have a good one.
All right, I'll talk to you soon.
Okay.
All right,
later.
Okay, bye.
Focus on metal.
Everything else is insignificant.
You're still here? It's over. Go home.